Welcome to Module 2 of Navigating Computer Systems. In this module, we will go over command line basics. The module has three parts: the assigned reading, the activity, and the quiz. For the assigned reading, you are required to read from the Linux User Guide, the PDF that we provide to you, Chapter 3. Chapter 3 goes over many of the common commands that are used on the terminal. The Unix Programming Environment book also has a lot of useful information about using the command line. Some of the information in this reading is a little outdated, but it still applies because the concepts are still going to be the same. So I would recommend start by reading the Linux User Guide, and when you notice that there's something you want to learn more about in there, jump over to the Unix Programming Environment textbook and read Chapter 1 information. For the activity, there will be 4 scenarios. Scenario 1 walks you through file system navigation and utilities. Scenario 2 will walk you through some system utilities that are available. Scenario 3 will explore text utilities. And Scenario 4 will explore remote console access. In Scenario 1, file system navigation and utilities, some of the commands that you'll run into are going to be pwd, which stands for present working directory, mkdir, make directory, cd, change directory, ls, to list out the directory contents, cp for copy, mv to move files, cmp, compare files, touch will create a file, and rm will remove a file. All of these commands will be executed inside of your console in your Linux virtual machine that you created in the previous module. I'm going to do a quick demo of some of the commands just to show you what they will look like. So here I am in my virtual machine. If I right-click, open the console, I have already set my terminal to use unlimited scrollback. In the scenarios, make sure that you set your terminal to use unlimited scrollback. This is available in another video that's linked inside of the activity. So to use the ls command, if I type ls, it will list out all of the directories in this current folder. So right now I can see that I am in my home folder, which is what the tilde is. And inside of my home folder, I have a desktop folder, documents folder, downloads, Eclipse, music, etc., etc. So ls is a command that's used all the time to list out the contents of a directory. I can use ls-a to list all of the hidden files as well. So any of the files that start with a dot are in the directory, but they are hidden from the normal view because we don't want to see them all the time. They're usually just going to be like settings files and things like that. So another command that you'll explore is makedir. So if I want to make a directory to store all of my CS-HU153 files this semester, I would say mkdir CS-HU153. If I type ls, I can see that it created a folder inside of my current directory. Another command that you'll explore is cd. So I can cd into CS-HU153, ls, and now I'm inside that folder, which is empty. Another command that you'll explore is touch. Touch allows you to create a file, but it's going to be empty when you create it, but it will just create that file so it's there when you need it. So I can say touch test.txt. If I type ls, I can see it created a file called test.txt. If I decide that I no longer need this file, another command that you will see is rm for remove. So I can say rm test.txt. ls. So hopefully that just gives you an idea of the types of things that you'll be doing in the first scenario. In scenario 2, you will be using various system utilities. The man command will be the manual, so you can look up how to use any of the commands. Who am I is going to tell you information about the user. Who will give you information about who's logged into the system. W is another command that will get information about user. Date will tell you the current date time on the system. It also lets you set the date time. PS will give you a snapshot of current processes running on your machine. Free will tell you the amount of free and used memory on your system. Nproc will tell you the number of processing units available, and LSCPU will give you information about the CPU architecture on your system. So just a quick demo of some of these commands. Of course, you will have to read further and experiment on your own. But one that's going to help you out a lot in these scenarios is the man command. So if I type man space who am I, It opens up a manual page, and I can read about the whoami command. So it says the whoami will print the effective user ID. It prints the username associated with the current effective user ID, same as ID minus UN, and it will tell you flags that are available and things like that. So to exit the command pages, it tells you down here, type Q to quit. So if I come back to my terminal, if I type who am I, it'll tell me Marissa Schmidt, which is my username on this machine. Now let's check out the date command. If I type man date, it says that date will print or set the system date and time. The way that we use date is to call the date command and pass in optional options and maybe a format. And then it gives a description. So it will display the current time in given format or set the system date. These are the options listed below here. -D will display the time described by a string. So if you read through all these, you can see all of the options that are available and the formatting options down here. So if you scroll to the bottom, you can see there's a lot of information here. This one even is kind enough to give examples of formats and things like that. So if I type Q to quit, if I type the date command, just the basic format, it will print out that it's, in this case, Sunday, May 24th, 21:18:19, and Mountain Time in 2020. nproc is another one I'll show real quick. So if I type man nproc, it'll print the number of processing units available. So when we're running this on our virtual machine, this is going to be the number of processing units available on our VM, our virtual machine, not on the host system. So if I type Q to quit the man page and I type nproc, I can see that I have allocated 8 CPUs or processors to my virtual machine because I have 16 on my host. In scenario 3, you'll explore some useful text utilities for finding information about text files. We'll explore cat, which will print the outputs of a file. Sort will sort the contents of a file. grep will search through the file for a given term. Word count will tell you the number of words, lines, characters in a file. And tail will print the last n number of lines in a file. It can also be used to follow a file as output is printed. So let's just look at a few of these. In my terminal, I have my CS-HU153 folder that I made. If I cd into CS-HU153, I have a test.txt file. Now to read the contents, I could open it and look at them that way, but if I just want to see what's in it real fast, I can use the cat command, meow cat test.txt. So I can see inside of that file, those are the lines that are in there. Another utility that we saw that we will have a chance to explore is the sort utility. So if I pass in sort, I say sort and then the name of a file, test.txt, it will sort the lines alphabetically. If I want to search for the word CS-HU in that file, I can use grep. CS-HU153, and then the name of the file is test.txt. And it will show me it's on that line and it will highlight the term. So these are actually utilities that are used all the time, especially if you want to search for things on your computer, if you just need to figure out what's in files. When you're programming, you'll find that you can use these utilities a lot. In the last scenario, you will get a chance to explore remote console access. So if you've taken previous CS courses, you may have used SSH before and possibly even SCP, which is secure copy. But you will dive into this so that you can have a refresher and maybe learn a little bit more about how this all works. So if I go over back to my terminal, if I want to SSH to Onyx server, I can say SSH my Onyx username, Marissa Schmidt, at onyx.boisestate.edu. Put in my password. And it will log me into Onyx. And now I can run some of these commands on Onyx to see the difference between the output on Onyx versus my local virtual machine. So if I do nproc, I can see that Onyx has 48 processors. If I type who, I can see everybody who's logged into Onyx. Kind of a slow day today, it looks like. If I run the ps command to list process information, By default, it shows information about my processes I'm running on Onyx, but if I add additional flags like PS-HU153, I can see all of the processes that are being run by all of the users on Onyx, which if I scroll up, you can see there are a lot of things going on the Onyx server right now. Okay, to exit when you're done with a remote session, you can just type exit and it will return right back to your local session on your local host virtual machine. And that's it for the activity. When you are done, you will submit your activity on Onyx and you will write a 2-paragraph reflection on Blackboard. So just remember both of those pieces. When you're done with the scenario, you'll take a short quiz, and just don't forget to take it when you're done. And just a reminder that you can take all of the quizzes twice. So if you make a mistake on one of the questions, you can review and try to take the quiz again. And that will be it for Module 2. Enjoy, and don't forget to reach out if you have questions.